Hello bookish people, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another weekly reading vlog. I am so excited for this week because you know what, either today or tomorrow Book of the Month is going to drop their August selections, so that will be fun. We will come back on here, which might be later today, when they drop their selections. Also, we're going to be organizing my Tbr card, and the most exciting part of this clip is I finally have a Mistborn update for you guys. So if you watched my last weekly reading vlog, you will know that I struggled so hard to read Mistborn. In 1 week, 7 days, I read 181 pages of this book. The time of day I was reading this book, every time I would read one chapter, I would fall asleep the next chapter. So I felt like I really was not making progress on it. Well, yesterday was Sunday, I got sunburned. We went to the pool, but after the pool, I drank a Celsius and I was like, I am reading Mistborn. I sat down, I read a good majority of it. I'm on page 350 right now, and I'm using my Trust of the Emerald Sea bookmark for good luck because this is my first Brandon Sanderson book. I rated it 5 stars, so the good luck magic is in this bookmark, so we're putting it in Mistborn so that I will love it and read it faster. If you want more details on like plotline, story, all that stuff, I'm reading this for a video where I'm reading popular books that I DNF'd. This is one of them. As for the audiobook update, I am 41% into the 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hilderbrand, and I am really enjoying this book so far. Even though I've never read this story before, there's something so comforting about it because I am so familiar with her other books. I had read 8 of her books last year. This isn't anything groundbreaking, like this feels like kind of like her other books I read, but to me that's not like a diss on the book. I actually really enjoy that because it is a new story, but at the same time when I read it, I just feel this sense of comfort. And like I said, it's something familiar. It doesn't, not every book has to be like, oh my god, this is a groundbreaking novel. This is definitely going to be my audiobook today while I work, and I will update you guys when I read more of it. So while procrastinating on actually working today, I went on TikTok, and then I saw this TikTok of this girl who received her book for the first time. She's a debut author. She just received her book for the first time in the mail, and she started crying. And I think she lives at home with her parents because then her dad came downstairs and then they hugged, and then I started crying and I was like, oh my god, this is so beautiful. So then I went and ordered the book. It's called Assistant to the Villain, and I just ordered it on Amazon, but apparently it doesn't come out till August 30th. So we're already adding that to the September TBR. But yeah, now I'm getting off TikTok because instead of procrastinating, it turned into spending money, and I have work to do today.
Full stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful delight.
Good morning, guys. It is Tuesday. We have such a busy day ahead of ourselves. Well, not us, me. I have a busy day ahead of ourselves, but I'm pretty sure Book of the Month just dropped their newest selections, their August selections, making us wait till August 1st. Like, Book of the Month, what are you doing? I was expecting them yesterday. I was refreshing my app all day yesterday. I was like 31st, here we go, new books. But no, they made us wait till today. After we look at the selections, because we're going to go through them all, I have reading updates, and are you shocked? Look how far I am into Mistborn, you guys. I read 100 pages of this book yesterday. I know, we'll talk about it when we do the reading updates, but first I want to go on the Book of the Month website. I have my computer right here, so we're going to go on the website right now. We're going to see what the books are. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Let me log in, except I never remember my password, and every single time I have to change it. I just saw the first one, Happiness Falls by Angie Kim. This one was actually in my predictions video. There we go. I mentioned one of the books. We have 6 selections, it says. The next one, Family Lore, another one that I predicted. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. Oh my god, you guys, I am 3 for 3 so far on my predictions. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. Shark Heart. Are we literally 4 for 4 on our predictions? The next one is The Many Lives of Mama Love. And the last one is Vampires of El Norte. This is probably the best predictions I have ever had. Out of the 6 main picks, I predicted 5 out of the 6. The only one I did not predict is The Many Lives of Mama Love, which is a memoir, because typically I don't include nonfiction in my thing. Oh my god, that is crazy. Now, which one are we going to pick? We have Happiness Falls. Honestly, though, I was never... When I did the predictions video, and I was looking at all the new releases in August, I wasn't really like, oh my god, I want everything. So let me look at what add-ons they have, because that's really what I'm interested in right now, because the main picks are a little okay at the moment. New and recent add-ons, we have The Invisible Hour by Alice Hoffman. That I also had in my predictions video. Gone Tonight by Sarah Pekkanen, I also had that in my predictions video. The Bookbinder by Pip Williams, I did not predict that. I have never seen that cover before, but it looks very cute. It's historical fiction. And then Just Another Missing Person by Gillian McAllister, which is funny because I originally had that on my list to put in the video, but I took it off because Gillian McAllister is the author of Wrong Place, Wrong Time, which I absolutely love that mystery thriller. But I felt like it had a pretty strong debut, and it wasn't a Book of the Month selection, so I didn't know that they would pick her. I'm definitely getting Just Another Missing Person by Gillian McAllister, which is an add-on, which means I need to pick a main pick. But honestly, like, none of the main picks are really calling to me. Out of all the main picks, I think we're gonna go with The Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. She is the author of The Hacienda, which I didn't really enjoy that. That one I rated 3 stars. I did unhaul that book, but we're gonna try this one because I do love vampires. Like, I absolutely love vampires. So we're definitely gonna be picking Vampires of El Norte, make my book of the month. And then let's go to our add-ons. What do we want? Yeah, we're definitely adding a Just Another Missing Person. Okay, so for Just Another Missing Person, this is what it says. 22-year-old Olivia has been missing for 1 day and counting. She was last seen on CCTV entering a dead-end alley and not coming back out again. Julia, the detective, heading up the search for Olivia, thinks she knows what to expect. A desperate family, a ticking clock, and long hours away from her husband and daughter, but she has no idea just how close to home this case is going to get. Because the criminal at the heart of the disappearance has something she never expected. His weapon isn't a gun or a knife, it's a secret, her worst one, and her family's safety depends on one thing. Julia must not find out what happened to Olivia and must frame somebody else for her murder. If you find her, you will lose everything. What would you do? Oh my god, amazing. Amazing. We are definitely adding that to my box, and I think that's it. I don't really need anything else. I mean, family lore sounded like, I just love the cover of family lore, but it's not something I think I would really read. Shark Heart is a very strange book. If you didn't watch my Book of the Month predictions video, then you don't know what it's about. Shark Heart, you're basically following this married couple, right? I think they're happily married. The husband starts acting strange, and then he gets this diagnosis that he's going to retain his consciousness, but he is going to turn into a shark, which obviously is the end of their relationship. And that brings up a lot of memories for his wife, and she starts reflecting on her past. In the past, she was friends with a girl who was pregnant with twin birds. Like, you see where I'm going with this? Like, it might be a little too weird for me. I need to see what people think about it first. None of this is true by Lisa Jewell. I've heard a lot of great things about Lisa Jewell, but this really didn't call out to me. Yeah, I don't know. This one didn't really call out to me. I'm excited for the Gillian McAllister book, and I'm really just picking the Isabel Cañas one because, you know, you have to have a main pick to get it out on. So we're gonna do that. We're getting 2 books, and we are going to ship my box. Now we are gonna do my reading updates. Physical read. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I am on page 473, which is chapter 28. I am making such great progress in this book. I feel like once I hit page like 350, that is when this book really like started picking up for me. I think another thing that really kind of like kicked my butt in gear and inspired me to get farther into this book is I started reading the reviews on Goodreads. There are so many 5-star reviews of this book, and people were saying like, oh my god, like the last 20% of this book, the last 150 pages are absolutely crazy. It's twist after twist. And I've heard Brandon Sanderson's books, like the ending of his books are always crazy. So I think I'm just like really trying to get to the ending of the book because I just want to see what happens. Like, we have so much set up in this book. I'm just so curious to see what the ending is going to be. Who can we trust? What is going to go down? For my audio book, I am listening to The 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hilderbrand. It says I have 3 hours left of the audiobook, but I'm listening to it on 2 times speed, so double that. I have about 6 hours left of the audiobook. It's a 12-hour, 45-minute audiobook, which means I am over 60% into the book. So far, I am really enjoying it. I think the drama's good. The friendships are good. One thing that's really interesting is you have this one character, Joanna, and she is dealing with cancel culture. Her stepdaughter is this like famous athlete, and I think she's like a tennis player. She's a famous athlete, and her boyfriend is doing his another famous athlete, and he's going like to perform, do athlete things somewhere. He's in a competition. And she has a competition as well. And she's like, okay, like, I don't want to do that. I'm going to not do that so I can go hang out with my boyfriend. And her stepmom, who's one of the main characters in this book, is like, no, like, you have contracts, you have to go. She's like, well, I'll just say it's a mental health issue and then I'll get out of it. And they're in a public place. And she's like, you cannot use mental health to like get out of things, blah, blah, blah. So somebody in the restaurant was recording her doing this. And now she is like canceled on the internet and people think, oh my God, you don't respect mental health. So it's really interesting kind of seeing cancel culture like talked about in this book and also kind of misconstrued because our main character, Joanna, she was like, no, like I wasn't saying mental health doesn't matter. I was saying she is not suffering from mental health issues. She is just using mental health as an excuse to get out of this thing. And I just think it's interesting to see how cancel culture is portrayed in this book and kind of give you like a different perspective of it, give you the perspective of somebody who is going through it and maybe unfairly going through it. Also, I'm really loving the dynamic between our main character Hollis and Gigi. I don't really want to say anything about that because you really learn about Gigi throughout the book, and I think it would be a spoiler to kind of know what is going on with her and her storyline. But I do think that is a very interesting dynamic and something that is really kind of pulling you in, and that's kind of adding a lot of tension to the story as well. Okay, the character I was calling Joanne, her name is Druanne. You know what? Sometimes when you're listening on audio, you just hear different things. So the goals for the rest of the day, finish this audiobook, possibly start another one, and get very far into Mistborn. I would love to finish Mistborn today. I just don't know that it's feasible for me to finish Mistborn today, although it would be amazing if I could just sit down and binge this, but unfortunately I have responsibilities. I have chores. I have a business to run, so we'll probably not finish it today. But if I really focus and get everything done, maybe I can finish it today. I've been reading this book for over a week. I need to move on. I want to read Caraval. I want to read Love Theoretically. I want to read Immortal Longings. I want to read Akatar. I want to read Red. There's so many books on my TBR that I want to read. So like, this one sadly has to come to a close at some point. You know what I really do love about this book though, that I didn't really think was going to be in here, is the found family element of this book and the crew. I love them so much. I just love it so much. Glad we picked our book of the month, and I am getting progress into Mistborn finally.
Forgo, give up everything that I own. Yeah, I'd give it all up now just to be with you somehow.
Okay, so I'm in line at Starbucks, but look what I just bought at Goodwill. I didn't even know this was like a thing. I have no idea what this even is. This is how you support J.K. Rowling. It's called secondhand shopping. Does anybody know anything about this? I don't. I just saw it. It was Harry Potter and I bought it. Okay, so I've been online for a while, so I took both stickers off. They put a sticker there and they put a sticker there because Goodwill's like, we really need to make sure we get that $5. Hello, you guys. It is Wednesday and I have lots to talk about. So let's talk about it. So I finished 2 books yesterday. Well, actually one I finished this morning, and that was Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I want to scream, I want to jump, I want to cry, I want to dance. I cannot believe that I finally finished this book. This book took me so long to read. It's probably the longest I've taken to read a book in a long time. But overall, I really liked it. I rated it 4.5 stars. If you want more detailed thoughts on how I feel about Mistborn, go check out my video where I am reading popular books that I DNF'd. I'm so happy I finally started my Cosmere journey and that I have read one of the most popular fantasy novels people talk about. I am very excited to read The Wall of Ascension. I don't know that I would start The Wall of Ascension right away. Okay, I just grabbed it because why not hold it when we talk about it? So yeah, maybe in a couple weeks I'll start The Wall of Ascension, but it is obviously bigger than Mistborn, and so if this one took me a while to get through, this one will take me even longer. And I think for this one, I'm not going to read it for any sort of video whatsoever. What I'm going to do with this one, I think I'm just going to take it chapter by chapter, try to read like a chapter a day till I get to the point in the book where I cannot put it down and then just binge the rest of it. Because honestly, that's kind of how I read Mistborn, and I enjoyed that reading experience. So I think I'm gonna do that with this, like read this while reading other books, read a chapter here, read a chapter there. Once I get hooked and dragged in, I will binge it. But yeah, I am very excited to see where the story takes us from here. These books I got at a used bookstore that was closing sale, and they are the covers that I don't really love, which is part of the reason why I put this book off for so long, because I hate the cover. It's so ugly, and yes, I do judge a book by its cover. I really want the UK covers, but like I don't know. So yeah, I'm really debating on getting the UK covers, but I have time to think about that because I only paid probably like $2-3 for both of these at this sale. So, I mean, like, I'm fine, like, redonating them or selling them on Pango and then, you know, just, like, buying the UK covers. But I have until the end of this book to think about it because I want to read the last book, which I think is called The Hero of Ages. That book, I will want to have, like, the whole matching set. So I don't want to buy the last book in this format because this is just not cute. Not cute at all. And then, yesterday, I finished the audiobook for The 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hilderbrand. And what I did not know is this is Ellen Hilderbrand's last novel. She is retiring from writing, which is making me really sad, but she said, she's like, oh, like, I'm just retiring while I still have a passion for it. So maybe it's a hiatus, maybe it's retirement, I'm not really sure, but this was the last one, and it's her 29th book. I don't understand. Like, if it was me, I would want to end on a 30. How can you end on a 29? You don't want to end on a solid 30? I don't understand. I don't understand. Why would you not want to end on an even number, especially an even number that ends with a 0? Anyway, The 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hilderbrand. It's actually funny. My mom came into town today and we went to Goodwill and there was an Ellen Hilderbrand book there, Winter in Paradise, which I absolutely love that book. I have it up on my shelf there and I made her buy it because I was like, you need to read this. I rated it 4 stars. It was not like the most mind-blowing Ellen Hilderbrand novel I've ever read. So that on the scale of my Ellen Hilderbrand novels is not the highest. A lot of the books that I read last year, I ended up rating 5 stars by her. And then this is my second book that I have read by her this year in 2023. The first one was Beautiful Day, which I did not enjoy. That was a 2 star. This obviously is her most current release. I rated it 4 star. I just felt like there was nothing so groundbreaking about it, which I said this is why I found it comforting in my previous clip, right? I was like, it's a really nice comfort read because there's nothing groundbreaking about it, right? It just feels like comfortable. It just feels like all her other work. But in that same vein, it's also why it's a 4 star. I just didn't get that same feeling that I have gotten with her previous work with this one. My next physical read, now that I have no physical read, now that Mistborn is done, what am I going to start reading? I am going to start reading Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I am so excited to read Caraval. I was flipping through this book, you guys, and I'm kind of sad because my edition's a little messed up. So as you know, I got this in a box set, and the box set was plastic sealed. So like, I know it was brand new. No one ever used it, but look. What is that? And then you go to the other pages, which I only noticed it on like chapter 2. Like, look, here's chapter 2. Look at those pages. And I don't really notice it anywhere else, but I notice it in these places and it bothers me because I try to keep my books in great condition. And this is not great condition, even though it's brand new. So I'm going to start reading Caraval by Stephanie Garber. That is my next physical read. I am very, very excited. I cannot wait to see what the hype is about with Stephanie Garber, Caraval, and then the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I am very excited to read all of it. So yeah, we're starting with this one, which I also got this book during Kindle Daily Deals, so I could split between my Kindle and this as well. As for our next audiobook, I have no idea what I'm going to be listening to next. I don't think I'm going to start another audiobook today, so I think today is going to be an audiobook free day. And I will see you guys when I have read some of this or read One Piece Volume 2 or start a new audiobook. I'm not sure, but I will update you guys tomorrow.
Unexpected love was found. You're the rose in a garden, and it shows if I'm honest. You're the leaves in mid-August, and I've come out here to say that I love you. You in my arms, won't let go. The world around could pass us by. A thunderstorm, a lightning strike as we hold each other tight.
If this doesn't describe me perfectly, I don't know what does. It is the next day. I have not read anything. I have not started any audiobooks, although I do plan on reading Caraval after I'm done filming this clip. But I spontaneously went to Goodwill and I actually bought a lot of books. Like, I don't normally buy this many books at one thrift store, but it was just a day of good books at this store. So I'm very, very excited to show you. So the first book I picked up is The Silent Wife by A.S.A. Harrison. I have never heard of this book, but it seems super interesting. So basically this book is about this wife who kills her husband, and it's told in alternating chapters. So her husband is like a womanizer, he's cheating on her, so it's told from his perspective. Then it also tells the story from her perspective, I think leading up to the murder, or maybe her explaining why she murdered him, not really sure. But it's called The Silent Wife, and I am very excited to read it. It seems like a short thriller. I love a good short thriller, and this will be so fun for spooky season. So just like, look at that cover. The next book I picked up is not very pretty, but it is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I have heard so many great things about this classic. I am very excited to read it. I would love a pretty classic edition of it, not like the Dover thrift edition that's just worn yellowed pages. But you find what you find. It's gonna go on my classic shelf, and one day I will read it. The next book I found at Goodwill is A Clash of Kings, not The Clash of Kings, A Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. This is the second book, I believe, in the Game of Thrones series. It says here's the second volume. Okay, so it definitely is book 2. So now I have a book 1, I have book 2. I'm slowly completing the collection and I will read them. These books are so popular, but honestly, it is quite rare for me to come by like big editions of them in the bookstore. Whenever I see Game of Thrones, it's always mass market paperbacks. I do not like mass market paperbacks. There is no way, you can't even pay me money to read a mass market paperback. So I am just collecting the larger paperbacks because that's what I can find. If I found them in hardcover, I would buy them. I don't even know that I'm gonna like this series. I don't know. It's very like epic fantasy. I don't think there's any romance in it. Like it's totally outside my comfort zone, even in like a fantasy realm. Like I love fantasy books, but this specific fantasy series is outside my comfort zone. But I feel like I should read it. It's very popular. I never watched the TV show, so I honestly would have no idea what to expect even going into this. Quite honestly, I don't even know what the show is about. Like I know there's dragons, I know there's people with bleach blonde hair, but like that's all I know. So yeah, one day we will get around to reading these. This is more just like collecting the series for like the future. You know what I mean? Like I'm just collecting the series for future Megan. Maybe like 30-year-old Megan will finally read these. They're on my lifetime TBR. Not necessarily today or tomorrow's or even next year's TBR. The next book I picked up, I have never heard of this book, but the cover of it was it just drew me in. It's like Kill the Boy Band, and this is by Goldie Molodovsky. I don't know why I kind of feel like it is a YA book, but anyway, it's basically about these fangirls that are obsessed with a band, and then they stalk this band, and they find one of the least desirable members of the band, like the less famous one, and they kidnap him in a hotel room, and it says they are friends and they are fans and they are sick of being nice. And I'm just like, this is so fun. This is basically like One Direction stans, Justin Bieber fans gone rogue. You know what I mean? And I'm excited for it. I was a One Direction stan, so like I'm excited to read this book. I just took off the dust cover and look how cute this book is underneath. Like, you're telling me I was supposed to leave this behind? It is bright pink. It says Kill the Boy Band in black. Like, I'm so excited. I didn't even look this up on Goodreads. I have no idea what the ratings are. Look at the end papers. Honestly, like I am more obsessed with this now than when I found it in the thrift store. Now that I'm opening it and I'm looking at the end papers and I looked under the dust cover, this book is, I'm so excited. This better be a good book. But even if it's not, like this probably will forever live on my shelf because like it's just a vibe, you know? The next book I picked up is Red Queen by Victoria Averitt. Now, I own Red Queen, and I'm actually looking around my shelves trying to find it because I own the entire series, but I think I own 2 hardcovers and 2 paperbacks. So this will make me have 3 hardcovers. Now I only need a thrift of the last one in hardcover, and then I'll have thrifted the entire Red Queen series in hardcover for like no money. I found it. It was hiding behind my Sarah J Maas books that I still need to read. Okay, so we have the entire Red Queen series here, and then I just thrifted the hardcover so we can get rid of this paperback that is worn out, beat up, and my rabbit bit it on the side. So you know, it's time to let her go. We'll probably give her to a free library. And now we have this nice and beautiful hardcover edition. I mean, it does have a scuff on the back, but like, would I rather have that scuff or would I rather have a chewed up spine sitting on my shelf? You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather have the scuff on the back that no one is gonna see. So now look at this, like, so beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful. Except we need Warstorm in hardcover now. And the last book I picked up is The Prisoner by B.A. Paris. She is a very popular mystery thriller author. I have never read anything by this particular author, but I was very excited when I saw this book. This book came out in 2022. I remember coming across it when I was like prepping for my Book of the Month predictions video because I always look at the new releases for that. And I was really intrigued by the premise of this and I wanted to read it. But I find this author all the time at the thrift store. So I knew it was only a matter of time before her newest release showed up in the thrift store. So I was like, yeah, no, I am not buying this retail. I am waiting for the thrifting gods to put it in my hands. And guess what the thrifting gods did today? They said, hello, Megan, here's the book you wanted to read. Oh my God, I just looked at the page count, you guys. I think this might be under 300 pages, which just makes me love this author because she knows a mystery thriller. 300 page is just like the perfect length for a mystery thriller. I feel like I had a pretty productive thrifting day. We have all these, and then I got the Harry Potter book yesterday. Like, are we joking? Are we joking? Oh, I actually got one other thing I wanted to show you. It's kind of book related, kind of not. I got this bowl because it looks like this and it's cute, and I'm gonna do TBR prompts. So I have my TBR jar that has like specific book titles in it, but I've been watching so many people's like TBR videos and they are doing TBR prompts, and I think that's even more fun because so many times when I'm doing like my TBR like jar, like pulling them out, I'm like either disappointed by the book or I'm like, oh, I just like don't want to read that. But then if I give myself prompts, I have a little more like leeway over what books I am reading for that month. So yeah, I'm gonna put this in here so we could try doing the prompt thing. and I think that shall be very, very fun. And I paid $3.99 for this, but I gotta wash it, and I want to write out prompts. If you guys have any prompts for me to add into the TBR jar, please comment them down below. I have saved some from Pinterest, so I'm gonna write some out, put them in here, and yeah, that should be fun, and we'll probably do that. I don't know if I'll pull any this month maybe, but we'll do them in my next TBR video.
You're the rose in a garden, and it shows if I'm honest. You're the leaves in mid-August, and I've come out here to say that I love you. Ooh, ooh, you, ooh, ooh.
Okay, so since I last talked to you, I finished a book. I believe the last update I did, I finished the 5-Star Weekend, and I finished Mistborn. I didn't really start any new audiobooks. I don't know, wasn't feeling in an audiobook mood, but I did read an entire book since I last talked to you guys, and that is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I started the Caraval trilogy and I finished it. This book is 400 pages, but it does not feel like 400 pages at all. This book just was a breeze to get through. I read this book so quickly. I think I read it in 2 days, like 200 pages each day, completed it in 2 days, and that is amazing coming off of Mistborn, where I felt like I was struggling so hard to finish that book. I rated this book a 3.5 stars, so I definitely say I enjoyed my reading experience. I really liked the plot, I liked the characters, I liked the setting. I loved that it was like a dark, whimsical book, because I really was not expecting this book to have a darker tone to it, but it is much darker than I was anticipating. And I really liked all of our characters. I really enjoyed Scarlet, and I loved her relationship with her sister Tella, and I just love seeing that sisterly bond portrayed in books. Maybe it's because something I've always wanted, so I love to see it in books. And then also I actually really like Julian as a love interest. Like, he's not like my top tier book boyfriend or anything. He's also not bottom tier. He's like pretty mid-tier book boyfriend. He was enjoyable to read, and there are some moments that I really loved for him, like his protectiveness over her and the sweetness over her. Like, I just loved that so much. But the reason why it is not a 5-star read to me is just because I felt like this book was rather confusing, and I just felt like the whole book I was reading this, I would start to figure out what's going on, and then everything I thought I knew would just be flipped on its head. So in Caraval, it even says, remember, it's only a game. They tell the character, our main character Scarlet, over and over, like, and Julian tells her this too over and over. He's like, don't believe everything you see, like, everything is not what it seems here. So literally every interaction she is having, everything she is doing, you're just questioning it, so you just like don't know what's real and what's not. And I just felt like very, very confused. But yeah, overall I would say it was a good time. It was an easy read, but I would say I'm looking forward to the next book, and I'm hoping that there's gonna be better world building the next book, because this book I felt like the world building wasn't that great, and I'm not someone who ever really comments on that. But in this book I definitely noticed the world building not being up to par, because I just, again, it goes back to being confused, right? Because everything in this world is not what it seems. So every time I felt like we were getting some aspect of world building, it would be torn away really quickly and be like, oh well, no, it's not that, there's actually this. And like the setting that they were in, although it was dark and whimsical and fun, it was also like kind of confusing as well. Like they would just like appear at different locations, and you would really have to be paying attention to every word to make sure like you kind of were following what's going on. Like, it's definitely not a book you want to skim, because if you skim a page, right, so if you have 2 pages, right, you're opening it up and you're reading here, and then you kind of skim this and you go out here, she's like in 2 different locations in 2 very different situations, because of the way like the setting is and how it's all like this. Honestly, I don't know why this setting of this book was giving me very like Alice in Wonderland vibes. Like, I don't know if there's any inspiration from that or if anybody else got those vibes from this book, but I definitely got like Alice in Wonderland vibes from this book. And yeah, overall I just really enjoyed it, and I am excited to continue on in the next one. So I finished 3 books this week, which I am very happy with. I mean, I always have expectations I'm going to read more than I actually do, but hey, life gets in the way. Me and my boyfriend went on a sushi date, we bought a new sound bar, you know, I'm working on my business, I have 2 dogs to take care of, so I am doing my best, and I am happy with completing 3 books in 1 week. But before we end the weekly reading vlog, we need to organize the TBR card, because I bought it exactly a week ago, and I had meaning to do this all week, and then I just haven't done it, so we are doing it now. We're going to organize the TBR card, which I already did the very bottom of the TBR card, so it has 3 tiers to it. I did the bottom tier, which I'm not going to show, because all the books in the bottom tier are books that I have for a huge haul I'm gonna do, because I have just been book shopping like nobody's business. I have so many books on the bottom, so we're gonna focus on the top 2 tiers of the cart, because I think I'm going to give the bottom cart for new books that I have bought that I need to haul, and then the top 2 tiers will be like my TBR, because like the bottom is still technically my TBR because I bought these books, so I should read them. So yeah, we're going to be focusing on the top 2 tiers, so let's get organizing. Okay, so here is the TBR cart, and I'm sorry about the lighting. It is super overcast outside. It's about to storm, and it is what it is, okay? But here's the TBR cart. I am very excited. So the top, I think I'm going to do a monthly TBR. So things that I pulled out of the TBR jar obviously are top priority, because if you know anything about the TBR jar, I pick stuff out of there every month. I pick 5 books a month, and if I don't read them by the end of the month, they have to be unhauled, and that is to keep myself accountable for reading my physical TBR. Because you know, there's books on here that I buy, and like, because I thrift a lot, and they just like sit unread forever and ever. So the TBR jar is so I can crack down on those books. And then down here, we're just going to put my priority TBR. Yeah, let's do the top shelf first, and then we'll do this shelf, because I know exactly what's going up here already. My 5 picks from the TBR jar is what we're going to start out with. So what did I pick this month? We have Spy Family Volume 9, which I am very excited to read because I love Spy Family. We have A Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I'm very excited to read that one. We have A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And honestly, like, this book is like stressing me out. Like, the fact that it's on this cart and not the rest of its series, I'm not gonna lie, is like kind of bothering me when I look at my shelves, but it's fine. It's fine. This is what we're doing. I have Look What You Made Me Do by Elaine Murphy, and then I have Tristan Shung Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mabali. So I'm very excited about this book as well. So there are my 5 TBR jar picks, must get read this month. And then the rest of the books up here, we're just going to put books that were part of my TBR video, my monthly TBR video. So I only had like 2 definite picks, and that was the Caraval trilogy and A Darker Shade of Magic. So those of course are going on here as well. So we have the entire Caraval trilogy. I obviously finished Caraval today, but we're going to leave it up here because I have no other place to put it. My shelves are a bit maxed out at the moment, but I keep buying books, so it's gonna live here for now. And then we have Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. Very excited to read this one. We have A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing, which technically should live on my bottom part because it was a haul thing, but it's up here. And then that's it. That's actually everything I mentioned. Oh, actually, just kidding. We have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I wanted to do a reread of this, so that's going to go here as well. And then I have room for 1 more book. So we're going to put something that's on like the top of my TBR, like number 1 priority besides these books. What would it be? And honestly, I have 3 books here that I'm debating between putting up here. We have Lying in the Deep by Diana Urban, Left Theoretically by Ellie Hazelwood, and Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. But it doesn't really matter because whatever books don't go up here are just going to go down here anyway. Okay, so then down here, we're going to put my top priority books. And honestly, this will be revolving. I'm sure this is going to change as the months go on. Before I even get to some of these, I'm sure it'll change. But these are top priority as I am feeling in this current moment on Saturday, August 4th or 5th, I don't know, but this is how I'm feeling exactly in this moment right now. So let me gather those books. Okay, I compiled a stack of books. They are all like, genres are all over the place. There really is not any thrillers. I am in a very big fantasy mood, as you can tell. Well, as you will be able to tell. But yeah, so we have this, and I have so many of the books that I wanted to put up here. I realized were recent purchases of mine, which are all on the very bottom tier. So I went back and I was like, okay, what books have I owned for a while that I really want to prioritize? And those are the books that we were putting up here. First book I have is The Foxglove King by Hannah Winton. This is an adult fantasy. It is a gothic fantasy, and I believe there is a romance subplot to it. And she is the author of For the Wolf, which I've been dying to read. This was her latest release. I picked it up when it came out, and now we have to read it. So we have The Foxglove King. The next one is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by Shanna Chakraborty. I am very excited to read this one. It is a pirate-filled adventure fantasy story, and I really wanted to read it in the summer because of the pirate ships, but now I'm just hoping to read it by the end of the year. So we have that. Another pirate story, we have Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. If you saw my brand new pretty editions that came in, then you know I have really pretty ones now, but this is going to the TBR cart because even though I have the pretty sprayed edition, I'm going to be reading the paperback so I don't mess up the sprayed edges. And to be fair, I already owned the paperback before buying the hardcover. You know, so that happened. So it's not like I just bought this to not mess up those edges. I already owned this, if that makes it any better. Okay, the next book going on here is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. Continue my Throne of Glass journey. Then we have Lying in the Deep by Deanna Urban. This is a YA mystery thriller that takes place on a cruise ship, and this girl goes there to get away from her ex, and she goes on there and she sees her ex with her ex-best friend because her best friend and her boyfriend like cheated on her with each other. And then she sees them, then bodies start appearing, and I think there's a sexy new stranger. So, you know, it's fun. It's a fun time. It's a YA mystery thriller, and I definitely want to read that soon. Next, we have My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I really love the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Now, when it came to How to Sell a Haunted House, didn't love that as much. Horror Store, I enjoyed. So we're just going to continue our Grady Hendrix journey. My ratings for him have been all over the place, and I feel like this one, though, I'm really going to enjoy. So very excited to read that whenever I do. Next, we have Last Violent Call, which are 2 novellas by Chloe Gong in the Foul Lady Fortune world. So we have A Foul Thing and This Foul Murder. One of them follows Roma and Juliet, and the other one follows Benedict and Marshall. I love Chloe Gong. I love all her writing, and I especially love the Violent Delights duology and Foul Lady Fortune. So I'm very excited to read these, and I need to read these before Foul Heart Huntsman comes out. Next, we have The Wall of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. This book is the second book in the Mistborn trilogy, the original Mistborn trilogy, and this is on here. If I do read this book, I will read this book, but I definitely am going to take a different approach to this than I took to Mistborn, and I am just going to read it like a chapter at a time until I get to the point of no return and binge it. So it is on this shelf, but like we're not making any promises. It's just there to be there. Next, I have Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, a book I really want to get to. This one sounds really good. Next, I have Shanghai Immortal by A.Y. Chow. This was a Fairy Loot pick, and it says half a vampire, half a fox spirit, all trouble. You sold me at half a vampire. That's all I needed. I love vampires. I'm always in a vampire mood, so I'm very excited to read this one. Very interesting premise. And then the last book that is going in the TBR cart is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. This is the last book in the Mortal Instruments series. I've talked about it so many times that I finally need to finish the series. This is a chunker, which is why I have not finished it yet. But honestly, oh my god, guys, look, I started it. I totally forgot that I started it. I got to page 8, and that's exactly why I forgot I started it. What bookmark did I choose? Just curious. Responsibilities are overrated. See, I wish I had to coordinate like my bookmarks with the book, and this one made sense to me because it was such a big book. I knew I was gonna have to like avoid responsibilities in order to read the whole thing, so that's why I chose this one. But apparently I did not avoid my responsibilities hard enough because I only got to page 8. I'm taking the bookmark out because, you know, I'm just gonna restart it. But yeah, we have City of Heavenly Fire, and that is gonna go there. So there is the TBR cart minus the secret bottoms here. But yeah, I am pretty happy with how this looks, how it turned out. I'm just excited to have one. That is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know if you're enjoying these weekly reading vlogs, if I should keep filming them, if I shouldn't. I don't know. I really like them, so I think I will anyway. But I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! That was like the weirdest peace sign thing ever. Okay, bye!
These dry